Coca-Cola ad done with AI that recently came out and made the news. Like that was also like a great example of where we can see these things going for consumer. As you grow, what I would do is invest more in understanding, okay, these are the key workflows I have going on at my company, or like the key work streams. How can I operationalize these with AI workflows? Custom GPTs. I think custom GPTs, like are an example of like a free tool that me and you can set up like in no time. We can train it with actual data and it can help you carry out tasks. Non-negotiable AI tools for me in 2025 is everything that relates to outbound. AI in outbound has been bursting like crazy. We're seeing like companies like Clay obviously leading the charge when it comes to custom agents. Like we're seeing like SEO shifting from like a text-heavy content to textless or more interactive experiences, right? LinkedIn doesn't want you to connect specific SaaS to LinkedIn and do automated posting but like there's still a lot of like leading providers like Lemlist, like Growth Machine, Prospeo. These are all automated tools that are living on LinkedIn. Two main ways of like prompting an AI. One is like zero shot learning, which means like you're basically telling AI to do something for you without giving them an example of what good looks like. And then you have like few shots learning, which is actually like okay, I'm giving you actual examples of what good and great looks like. Give me an output that looks like this and motivate that. So what are the data that I'm using to train the AI? What are the steps of the process? How can I make these better or more organized, more structured? What are the prompts that I'm feeding the AI to come up with the output, right? Like how can I better structure and invest into prompt engineering? And how can I best position the human reviewer in the process to make sure that quality is respected by the AI and we avoid hallucination. If you have like an AI that helps you, getting your face out there more consistently is gonna make a difference.
Hi everyone. So thanks a lot for joining us. So we have with us Matteo, and today we're going to talk about the AI influence in the GTM motion, and we're going to get deeper into what's working, what's not working, and what are the actual tactics and tools that CMOs can deploy or any marketing leader can deploy to really gain the most out of the GTM benefits from AI. So Matteo, thanks a lot for joining us again. It's great to have you back. And yeah, let's get started. So first thing, so what are the non-negotiable AI tools that CMOs and marketing leaders must include in their GTM strategy for 2025, and why are they essential for driving the ROI?
Thanks so much for having me, Saad. Like it's great to be back and chat all things AI. Yeah, to answer your question, I think like there's I think like why is AI like driving essential for driving ROI? It's because like that's I think very simple, and I think we can start with that. Like our AI ultimately is productivity enabler, or this is how I think of it, and so it helps massively like scale increase speed and volume of any kind of like workflow that any knowledge worker is conducting across the entire company, right? So in the case of GTM, that can be content creation or personalization of outbound and a bunch of other use cases. But I think like going back to your question, what are the non-negotiable in 2025? I think like I would definitely start with the general LLMs, as a non-negotiable. Again, like it sounds like everyone is using ChatGPT, but in my opinion, I'm very surprised to see that still a lot of operators don't use it. And like by general LLMs, I mean like just like the usual suspects like ChatGPT, Claude, or Perplexity. I think like using these like once in a while is what people are maybe like mostly doing, but The big difference is like when you actually like use them systematically in pretty much every task that you are conducting, and that's when I think like the real unlock is. And then when it's like the again, like it's really non-negotiable, because still, again, like people are maybe like using them like seldomly, but like when you use them on like for a bunch of like a lot of like use cases, that's when like the productivity compounds. Then I say, and then like I personally use them like for everything that like I need to do with research or content creation, but also like as a sounding board for brainstorming and strategy. So like for example, like the other day I used it to create like a end-to-end process for a win loss case analysis for one of my customers, and it like I especially used deep research from ChatGPT, and I think like that was like incredibly helpful to like to carry out that use case. And I think like we'll see more and more people like using these for again like a series of use cases. The second category of non-negotiable AI tools for me is in 2025 is everything that relates to outbound. AI in outbound has been bursting like crazy. Like last year and this year is going to be do this even more. We're seeing like companies like Clay obviously leading the charge when it comes to again personalization, like using like custom agents like their Clay agent to run custom research for prospects and cold outreach. I think like that's going to be like again like a non-negotiable, huge non-negotiable like this year. Another one is intent signals. So like how to collect multiple intent signals from a bunch of data providers, such as like a prospect visited my website or my pricing page, combining with they're hiring for like specific jobs that are maybe relevant for that make them more in demand for my products. And on the back of all of these craft personalized outreach. So I think like that's going to be like also like a massive use case for AI. And not just for personalization itself, but also like when it comes to identifying like or like list building or like identifying like new prospects. For example, like Ocean is a tool that helps you find lookalikes of lookalikes prospects specifically based on like a set of emails that you feed them. And I think like that's again like using AI and a set of other algorithms to conduct this research. I think like that's going to be like another massive use case. And last but not least, it's I think like this year we're going to see a lot more of AI workflows users. So which is about how to stack all together like these multiple these general LLMs in different steps of a specific workflows. So for example, like in like again, every knowledge worker is like conducting like workflows as part of like their job, right? So like for example, as a content creator, I need to research like some content ideas, then validate that there is like search traffic for a specific set of keywords. Then I need to outline like a piece of content, then create the piece of content, and then like add an image or distribute it on multiple channels, right? So I think like having like the ability to lay out these complex workflows with multiple and be aided by AI to in multiple steps, or even like choose like different um, AI models to conduct these multiple steps will be a massive unlock um, for startup operators this year.
Yeah, so Matthew, we obviously believe that it's going to be a game changer for the marketing, okay, and it's going to structurally change how the traditional marketing versus the AI-driven marketing is going to work. So, can you please elaborate more on that?
So in terms of like the structural changes, or
Yeah. Structural changes in the AI-driven marketing versus traditional marketing.
I think again, like well, we touched upon this just now. I think like the
Mhm.
big trend is sorry, one of the big like structural shifts is personalization, right? So in traditional marketing, we always had the trade-off between scale and relevance, right? So like we either were sending campaigns that were done at scale, but with pretty much like a static one size fits all message, or we were sending like highly personalized messages and campaigns, but at lower scales, right? Because we were relying on static segmentation and whatnot. But I think like AI now changes this game. So like we're basically going to bypass this trade-off between scale and relevance altogether, and AI enables us to you know scale, like keep the personalization, keep the relevance by leveraging all these like data providers and like these intent signals and this custom research that are done one to one, and then scale it across um, like large audiences, right? And this again like is uh, a big example of this. We can see it in AI, like in prospecting and outbound, right? Where we're seeing with tools like Clay that we just mentioned before. Then another thing that comes to mind is like the ability of like the decision making processes that like are done also like as a strategic level. Like again, we were even like when it comes to like targeting specific ICPs and build out a specific ICP model and then create like a messaging system on the back of that. In traditional marketing, like this process is done quite statically, and or we needed to go through manual refreshes of this. However, I think like now we're going into like a more dynamic, unified way of doing this. Like there will be predictive real-time data and insight and predictive analytics and insights that will allow um, marketing teams or like GTM teams to refresh or update automatically like their ICP and eventually like tailor or like adjust their messaging on the go, so that again like we have a faster and tighter feedback loop as well as more accurate targeting. Um, a third element like that comes to mind is also like execution. We again like touched upon just before, but we're going from like knowledge workers conducting a lot of like these their tasks manually from or with the aid of SaaS tools that are all siloed, like one different from the others. For example, like I need to write content on Google Docs, then I need to like run my content research, my keyword research on Ahrefs. Then now we're seeing again like I think all these tools coming together and these workflows being automated by AI, and instead of like the focus will be is shifting from conducting these campaigns manually to actually setting up these workflows, these AI-led workflows, and investing more into the process, right? So like What are the data that I'm using to train the AI? What are the steps of the process? How can I make these better or more organized, more structured? What are the prompts that I'm feeding the AI to come up with the output, right? Like, how can I better structure and invest into prompt engineering? And how can I best position the human reviewer or the human in the loop in the process to make sure that quality is respected by the AI and we avoid hallucination? So exactly, like the execution work is shifting from manual or SaaS assisted into actually like the operationalization and the process aspect of it, the workflow aspect. Oh yeah, sorry.
Matteo, yeah, just there's one interesting question that come to my head at this moment is, so social media is about people, the real people engaging with one another. And now
Mm-hmm.
we have this AI agents and the outbounds, and somebody's posting using AI agents to post stuff, and somebody's reacting to it, and somebody's sending messages. And it's like bots talking to bots. Do you believe that this will continue? Will all of these social media channel let this go? Because outbound, automated outbound was there, but it was blocked also by those networks at that particular time. So how do you think this will evolve, this mechanism?
Well, it's hard to believe, right? Sorry, it's hard to tell what's going to happen.
Mhm,
I mean,
mhm,
ultimately, I think like every channel has its own life cycle, and then there's like phases, new unlocks, like from a tech perspective that either migrate, like make this channel life cycle, sorry, the channel ends, or they reinvent
mhm,
the
mhm,
channel in a way, right?
mhm, mhm,
So with outbound, as you said, I think like for years, you could just like send thousands or tens of thousands of emails that were like very salesy. And now we have email clients last year, like really cracking down on spam and
yeah,
making things a lot harder for outbound, right? But
yeah,
that
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really stop outbound marketers from doing their job or overcoming these
Mhm,
challenges, right? So like what they did exactly is that with this new AI agent and personalization, they make the content of the email so personalized that or so one to one, so relevant that recipients actually click on it, and because like it's genuinely interesting, it's genuinely like speaks to something that I would want to read, and so that kind of like revived the channel. And also in the same way with the deliverability, right? Or like the because of like the volumes of email sent, some domains were penalized and deliver like the emails, instead of like landing in primary inbox, were landed into either updates or spam, right? But again, like how did outbound marketers or GTM engineers like really revive that? They created like customized solutions for domain warm up and redefine basically like a new playbook to overcome these challenges, right? And I'm pretty sure like the same is happening on LinkedIn, right? Like LinkedIn doesn't want you to connect specific SaaS to LinkedIn and do automated posting or but like there's still a lot of like leading providers like Lemlist, like Growth Machine, Prospio. These are all like automated tools that are living on LinkedIn. So in my opinion, like going back to your answer, to your question, like I think like the channel owners, like in this case LinkedIn or Gmail, are always gonna like set up guardrails to monitor or like make sure that like the channels are used with their end customer in mind. But I think like this will ultimately just trigger like the ingenuity of like innovative operators that will develop like new types of solutions and still get to that outcome. And if like that doesn't happen on email, they will find another way, because there's always going to be another way to get to that outcome.
Okay, and what are some of the biggest earlier mistakes that you're seeing that companies are making while building their AI stacks at the moment?
Interesting question. I mean, I think like
Mhm.
one of the, because of like the velocity of how many new AI tools are popping into the market like every week, I think like probably the single biggest mistake is just like chasing the last shiny object that comes into the market. And it's very easy to, like if you're like a busy CEO, to tell your marketing team, hey, like we should implement this. I've just seen this, on Product Hunt or on LinkedIn. Why don't we try this? But instead of like just chasing like the first the latest tool on the market, I think it's much wiser to just like start with like the goals that you have, and what are your actual needs that need to be automated with AI, or like where AI can help. What are like the key capabilities, the key use cases, the key workflows that need your attention, and on the back of that, research what's the best tool on the market to help you carry out the job. Another like big mistake, I think, like is ignoring the quality of the inputs. What does that mean? Like I think like AI is only as good, as per now at least, is only as good. The output from AI is only as good as the quality of the input that you feed it. Like this is like especially true in when you're like prompting an AI, or let's say when you're prompting ChatGPT. There is like two main ways of like prompting an AI. One is like zero shot learning, which means like you're basically telling AI to do something for you without giving them an example of what good looks like. And then you have like few shots learning, which is actually like okay, I'm giving you actual examples of what good and great looks like. Give me an output that looks like this, and motivate that, right? And so this is, I think, is key. And like a lot of people are just like going into like are prompting AI with zero shots learning. So like just like uh, do this, like. But if like the more you structure your prompt, the more examples of what good and great looks like you give them, and you motivate that to the AI, the better the output is going to be. And then the last but not least is probably of like, again, like everyone is talking about it, but like not many people are actually like walking up the talk on this, which is like no not having human oversight into AI processes. Like everyone is like looking at like scaling, shrinking time to market with AI, and using it to like for just like speed and volume. But they forget to keep like the human in the loop in the process, and set up again like these human reviews and guardrails in strategic milestones of each workflows. So for example, again, like let's go back with the content creation. Like when you tell AI to like search keywords, like you probably need to validate that those keywords are relevant to your strategy. And then after the outline of a specific blog post is created, you should always like check the output, and you know add your nuance, add your color, or do the refinements. And obviously, like even on the at the final stages of the content being produced. So like having this human oversight is also like one of the big things that I think like people should really invest in.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's get to towards the brand voice. So because social media, everybody a chance to be able to talk to the world, and there was a lot of like authenticity and the personal voice was out there. Okay, but with the GPT, you can pretty much see, okay, this is like a generic stuff. This is like doesn't have, it just seems uh, feels robotic, right? With GPT content. So I mean, how do CMOs or any marketer use those? In a way, you're diluting the brand voice with using all of these GPTs, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like it goes back to what we just said, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're just like doing like a zero shots prompting with an AI, you're gonna get what I call, like a fast food output because everyone is using, like AI in this surface level way. So you're gonna get basically like the average output, right? Again, crap in, crap out, right? Or average in, average out. So how do you actually like differentiate? Like there's a like we just mentioned that, right? Like you
Yeah.
can give the AI like a good amount of like a data set of examples of what good looks like, and or if you're doing like content creation at scale on social or blog or even video, what you can do is just like feed the AI a set of like rules that or examples that resemble of your specific voice. And so that can be, like tone of voice guidelines. It can be templates of like a post structure. So like or examples of hooks. If you're doing like LinkedIn posts, or examples of again like guidelines on how to write specific like branded terms or and so on and so forth, right? So you can do this either manually every time you prompt like a GPT, or like I personally use AirOps, which is like one of like these AI workflows leading SaaS or like platforms. And you have actually like a dedicated knowledge base section where you can upload all of these like examples, tone of voice, templates, and so on and so forth. And you can strategically pull these into the workflows at specific steps of these workflows, and make sure that like the output reflects your tone of voice, basically.
Okay, so let's just get deeper into the actual stack. How does it look like, the ideal stack? So we have startups, we have the mid-sized corporations, and we have the enterprises. Like, just maybe give us a generic model of how should startups, mid-sized enterprises, and the big enterprises should think about building their AI stacks.
Well, I think again, like if you're a startup, you probably you have like limited budget, but you have like the flexibility of like going fast and be a bit more scrappy. So in that sense, I would probably like advise to have like a modular stack. I mean, again, like it really depends on the use cases and the capabilities that you need to carry out. So there's not really like a one size fits all. However, like given like the means and the size of startups, it's probably like best to start with like general purpose LLMs like again like a ChatGPT, like Claude, and all of that, and really invest into building like detailed prompts that like can really have like give you an edge on differentiated outputs, right? And depending on also where you like need to the process that you need to invest, you can then again like add specific like AIs in a modular fashion. For example, again, like if you need to do outbound, then probably like you should definitely have a clay, which is as close as possible to like a general purpose AI, but for um, outbound, right? Whereas like if you're like as you grow and you get into like more like the growth stage or medium-sized enterprise, like what I would do is invest more in understanding, okay, these are the key workflows that I have going on at my company, or like the key work streams. How can I operationalize these with AI workflows? And I would start laying out these AI workflows with, again, providers like AirOps, for content and SEO, or cargo for outbound and um, other like GTM workflows, and really like layer, like these detailed prompts within these more structured workflows. And I would also like start layering in, because when you are like a medium-sized enterprise, you are also have a handful of proprietary data and coming from your product, your CRM, your database, and so on and so forth. So I would make sure that we leverage these proprietary databases to extrapolate, again, key insights and train the AIs in these workflows accordingly. Whereas like when you get to like late stage or mature companies like enterprises, you should have everything that we just talked about for the growth stage, while also make sure that you invest into custom AI that can work together with your apps, and really have like an integration layer that can have these workflows and your data like come together and be used accordingly.
So let's just get into one use case. So many companies have their social media calendar. So they build a lot of content. They need to post it. They need to schedule it. They need to track their performance and determine which to be posted and which not to be posted. So how would you tackle this kind of situation? Is AI with AI agents is going to help this?
Yes, I mean, like it can definitely like help, like it really depends again, like on your goals and your needs. But how I approach this is, like you can have, for example, like a GPT operator, like really running an ongoing competitor analysis on a handful of, let's say, LinkedIn profiles. And extrapolate, like best performing posts, content types, hooks, and then organize all of this with like within a set of templates and best practices that you can then feed into your content creation workflows, right? Another way that AI could be helpful is when you're interviewing, let's say within the um, founder-led content example. Let's say I need to interview my CEO to get ongoing ideas or input for context for like doing his LinkedIn posts, their LinkedIn posts, right? AI can obviously help in extracting, like the key insights or key ideas and restructuring them from like the meeting, the recording transcripts, right? That's like what I normally do when I do like also like ghostwriting for some of my clients, and then you can create like an AirOps workflow, for example, like to like on one hand, like pull from these transcripts recordings, like from the call recordings and the related transcripts for like these specific ideas, and then mold these ideas according to the best performing hooks that you found online, or like a set of like structure templates that you see worked, right? And so like this is a specific example of how this can work. And in my experience, it obviously like helped massively with both um, uh, speed, because you can cut your manual workflows and back and forth of like 70-80%. And you also keep consistency of the output, right? Which is again you want to make sure that all the posts are relevant or resemble of a specific tone of structure, consistent. And you can also use AI to help you pull reports, right, on specific performances. So you can get operator to jump on your LinkedIn analytics and understand, okay, like specific patterns or feedback on how to adjust the schedule for the following week, for example.
Okay, so what happens to the world of spamming? So you can obviously there's this world that existed in terms of spam. You can just copy paste and all of that. Now you have GPTs, Jaspers, and Writesonic, all of those tools where you could generate a lot of content, like unlimited kind of content. Anybody can generate and just post it out there.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
are there any limitations? And specifically for from the SEO perspective, is I mean, is this similar to spam? Is it going to be something which is much better, and will it work? It will work out.
The benefits of these tools again are obvious, and we touched upon in previous questions in this conversation, right? The ability of researching or brainstorming, outlining specific pieces of content, and also drafting or proofreading, right? And if you think about translation, as well, that can be a massive use case for these content writing tools, right? Um, However, the cons is we even touched upon it, right? It's the output can be generic and it's limited by the training data. So you need to make sure that you're giving it specific training data to differentiate, right? And that's I think one of the main things. However, for SEO, I think there's a bigger shift, and I've been following one of my colleagues, Kevin Indigo, who's super famous in this, in the SEO space. And I think we've been writing, we wrote a piece together on this recently, that we're seeing SEO shifting from a text heavy content to textless or more interactive experiences, right? So we were so far, we're used to SEO being related to keywords. Then it shifted to specific topics, so a more a topical authority. And now I think it's going even in a different direction, which is yes, still related to topics, but Google is prioritizing a lot more engagement on a specific page, so the interaction. And it's also prioritizing not just content that tells people, because content now is written content tells you how to do something, right? I search on Google, how to do, programmatic SEO. And then I get a guide, step-by-step guide on programmatic SEO, right? But I think we're the world of SEO is shifting from getting content that answers your questions to actually getting tools that help you solve your actually execute on these things, right? And overall and so we're seeing, for example, rising the rise of interactive tools like quizzes or free tools that actually get you to do the job, right? Templates libraries, that is a template. It doesn't tell you just a step by step on how to do something, but it's like a template structure that gets you to do the thing, right? And so this is I think where SEO is also evolving. And Jasper and Writesonic, they can help you write content, but it'll be much harder to get. I mean, they don't help you to create free tools GPT wrappers to actually like do the thing, right? Exactly. Like a great example is like custom GPTs. I think custom GPTs like are an example of like a free tool that me and you can set up like in no time. We can train it with actual data, and it can help you carry out tasks, right, for free. And then eventually, if you embed that on your domain, and that can rank, and that can ultimately, lead to a more interactive experience and a more like useful, mini product basically for your audience.
Okay, that's awesome.
Does it make sense?
So yeah, 100%. So which AI tools are effective in sort of like automating this email marketing campaigns? Because obviously always has been a challenge of personalization at scale.
Sure. I think like there's two main categories here that
Mhm.
like that are relevant to mention. One is like the data providers and who are like a mix of basically like data and enrichment providers, which basically help you to scrape databases of relevant prospects, get their contact details, and then extract a bunch of information about them, right? Like which is like their contact information, like their job title, what they've been posting on LinkedIn, or like which website pages they've visited, which other competitors they've visited. Which jobs they're hiring for, and so on and so forth. So this is like one big piece that AI is like helping solve. And then once you have all these contact information, how can you, like either get more of these in a custom way by using like exactly these agents that scrape their Glassdoor or website or LinkedIn profile and so on and so forth. And then how they personalize, how can you use all of these information to understand if they're a good fit for your product to reach out, or whether you shouldn't reach out to them at all, right? And then actually like craft like a personalized message that is relevant depending on the product you're selling and the information that you found out, and then reach out to them on the channels that they're most on, right? So the first in the first bucket, like which is like the enrichment and the research piece. I think like Clay and Common Room are like standout products for me. Like Clay is a more flexible, more scrappy, very cost effective, especially for early stage startup. Common Room is a bit more sophisticated and might be for like suited for growth stage companies. But it obviously like has a lot of degree of is probably one of the best for intent signals from aggregating intent signals from multiple providers. And so like I think like these two are probably like my top choices when it comes to enrichment and research at scale, prospect research at scale. And then once you have these, like these personalized messages crafted into these tools, you can push them into outreach sequences, automated, and that's where like the sequencing or the outreach comes in, right? And there's three typical channels for B2B that you are going to outreach to. One is email, which is like the where most of the volumes happen. Then there's obviously LinkedIn if your prospect is on LinkedIn, but not everyone's personas is on LinkedIn. And there is also like cold calling, right? That has been has had a pretty big resurgence last year. And so like depending again like on where your ICP lives, like you want to invest accordingly into like this sequencing tool. But for emails, probably Outreach and Salesloft are and Apollo are the top choices. Whereas if you want to invest into multi-channel LinkedIn and email, Lemlist is or like Growth Machine are also like top choices. And Nooks or Aurum are the best for probably cold calling, for automating dialing and voicemails and cold calling analytics as well.
So, so obviously AI has really is working for the text part. It is creating very meaningful, very thoughtful text. But when it comes to images and when it comes to like video production, how do you see AI playing the role over there? It's kind of like working, uh, but which tools are working, which are not working? How do you see this progression happening?
Yeah, I mean, like again, the utility is like pretty self-explanatory. Like you can produce like video content without cameras or actors needed or big budgets. So like I think like it's pretty groundbreaking. At least the promise that sets. However, like exactly some of these depending again on what your needs are. Like some of the AIs might not yet be there, and there's still like big trade-offs in terms of again like authenticity and how does like an AI avatar of yourself like is perceived by your audience, right? But I think like there's definitely like two things that come to mind. One is like obviously like I think Sora from OpenAI is pretty remarkable in terms of like what can deliver in terms of like short videos. I mean, maybe like not everyone is has used it for ads and stuff like that, but that's also probably because I'm mostly in B2B, and like these are more like you might be used for consumers. I think like the Coca-Cola ad done with AI that recently came out and made the news. Like that was also like a great example of where we can see these things going for consumer. But for B2B, I think like specifically AI avatars are gonna make a big difference. I'm seeing like two main providers, Synthesia and HeyGen, really leading the charge. I've also like tried both of them myself for getting like to basically create one avatar of myself and delivering like like content, sorry, like creating like videos of me speaking, and I personally like didn't love it, like, and I thought it was like still quite stiff. However, like again, it's still it's a matter of taste, and I think like is not a matter of if, but more of when, because I think like like all the main social feeds, LinkedIn included, are mimicking more and more TikTok, right? And so like short form face video is the future of these channels. Like they're pushing this type of format more and more. And so if you have like an AI that helps you, getting your face out there more consistently, is gonna make a difference. So like using these in like I mean like by the time that these things get these tools get better, I think we're gonna see a lot more of this type of content out there.
Okay, so in a way, for the training videos, for sure it works. But for these marketing videos, maybe there's some delta time to it when it starts working, right?
I mean, I think again, like it really depends, but I think is going to like the tools are going to get better, and more people are going to use it. But now, like maybe I haven't seen them that much yet.
Okay, so might you consider a situation that you're just hired as a CMO of a startup? Okay. And and you're tasked with okay AI driven GTM strategy for that particular obviously we talked about all of those things. So let's just talk about, okay, how will you start the process? Which will be your tools that you go step by step? Which will be KPIs that you'll start, tracking and monitoring? And how do you build the entire engine on this? And yeah, just go for it. Just go for it.
So again, like as I mentioned before, like I would start by identifying like opportunities where AI can play a role. Like it's not
Mm.
about like automating everything and all at once, but I think like it's like I would start understanding like again like digging deep into our workflows across the company and understand, okay, what are the most time consuming low touch and repetitive tasks that our teams are carrying out. And why is that so? Why are they repetitive? Why are they time consuming? And then on the back of that, like try to see if there is like an AI that can streamline or tighten this process or make this process more efficient, right? So, for example, we have a bunch of like SDRs that are manually building lists of prospects and manually going on LinkedIn or on specific websites to gather email, phone number information, like their job titles and everything, right? So if this is like, it means that I don't know, like people are spending like one person is spending uh 2 to 3 hours to come up with like a specific output. How can we use instead AI data enrichment, for example, or waterfall enrichment and this personalization to make this process better and more efficient, right? Or if we're looking at paid media marketers, like they might be um, manually coming up with ad copy for their A/B tests, right? Or how can we then use AI to generate test variants, faster in a more structured way with more structured guardrails and criteria, so that they can focus on more the strategic aspect or the identifying specific insights instead. And I think like a key outcome of this would be to come out of this exercise with a short list of highest impact use cases and capabilities that can be streamlined or augmented by AI. Then, armed with this prioritized list, I will create, like a game plan, again, outlining these use cases, the tools to consider, and obviously like some owners and timelines to implement, right? And I would like specifically focus initially on leading indicators as KPIs. So, for example, because like I think like everyone is like setting like unrealistic expectations from AI, or we should implement this, then it means that our revenue should double by tomorrow, like, and I think like that's obviously, like a bit of like a false promise. And because AI is a productivity enabler, I would actually like focus on understanding like the benefits of it in terms of like leading indicators. So in terms of like, for example, number of hours spent on a specific process or workflows or outputs, right? So like so for or like for example like number of content pieces produced per week, right? And I think like that's a much better feedback loop. Is much more realistic. I think like in the short term to understand the delta of like is it working or not working. And it's also like a tighter feedback loop because it can tell you like, okay, like I was spending 10 hours to do X, now I'm spending 2 hours to do X plus Y, and Y is also like the output delta. So you have like two key measures, right? You have like the input delta, which is like again like is how mm, AI is helping me streamline the process and get to output faster. And then you have the output delta, which is, like with AI, this is how much I can also, how much more I can produce, right? And I think like this is where I would focus on measuring success in the beginning. And then, like while developing this plan, I would also like make sure to include these guardrails of human in the loop and human reviews at key stages of each workflow. So again, like as for the reasons that we mentioned before. And yeah, and once we get into the implementation, again, it's very wise to like start small and build confidence um, as you go, as opposed to try to boil the ocean in one go, right? You can just like have, for example, like one team start using an AI for a specific use case, right? And then you expand from there. Based on like the input output like success criteria that we set up, we can then evaluate the results and like expand from there. But ultimately, over time, what's important, if like these like use cases like are helpful, then again, it's super important to invest more into like operationalize the process even more, like better prompts, better data, and better data integration as well before moving on.
So, Matthew, this is what I'm thinking. So we have these AI models. Then obviously we are getting these AI agents, and the third stage will be like the virtual workforce. So essentially, it's a huge, massive game changer kind of a transition that's about to come, and obviously that's going to impact all of these marketing and the sales and outbound people who are actually into this profession. Okay, because now the search will be more towards who are those prompt engineer, the who can actually build all of these. So what are how do you foresee the human impact of all of these this all of this AI enabled GTM?
Well, I think like we're already like kind of like seeing it. Like AI is enabling like smaller teams of generalists to do uh, probably to achieve like the same output and outcomes of like large companies, large organizations, right? Like
Mhm.
I have a colleague of mine in the space, Marcel Santilli. He founded like an AI workflows agency that is specialized into like creating all these like workflows like augmented by both AI and human in the loop, human experts in the loop, and with a team of I think like 10 like they achieved they made like 4 million ARR in probably like 3 months from starting out, which I think is like a testament to the power of these of combining like these tools with expert human that know how the process looks like, right? So I think like this is just one example. Then again, like going back to your question, I think like much smaller teams and more leaner and expert in tooling. So like semi-technical profiles that can combine both like the creativity of, for example, like copywriting with the technical acumen of how to harness AI and so like prompting in AI workflows to actually operationalize and set up like this process and execute on these processes. And so like there will be, I think like also like more generalists, right? So like the people that generalist profile that combine um a multifaceted skill set will be, I think, like the winners, and we'll see less probably like specialized profiles that I think like though are going to go more into like the larger companies, like where there's like a big structures and larger teams.
Okay, awesome. So I think we're about to. But anything that I missed, you wanted to add and I haven't covered.
Um, yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, just like to touch upon on this, I think, like, it's, we're
Mhm.
seeing exactly like the rise of profiles. So, like, I think, like, trendy words has been like a GTM engineer. I've seen another, like, peer posting about the content engineer, like, the other day. I think, like,
Mhm.
because like we have, like, again, like, AI in the mix now, like there, and this the focus is a lot more on the process and on the workflow. And so, like, there's a lot, there's like these engineering aspect that is like translated from actually software engineering to other types of like of roles like content or outbound, and I think, like, we're gonna see this a lot more, right? It's a testament again, like, of how we need like a focus on like operations, processes, and workflows, and how can people like help set up these AIs or line up AIs, multiple AIs, and other SaaS tools to basically operationalize or engineer these processes.
So Matthew, that was great. So just for our audience and for everybody, where can people find you? Can you please tell us tell them more?
Sure, you can find me on LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty active there. So, like, feel free to
Mhm.
DM me or reach out if I can help with anything.
Okay, Matthew. So it was again a pleasure talking to you, and see you soon.
Thanks so much, Sad.
Thank you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.